Religion, science, co-production, how does that all fit or not fit or relate to each other and more importantly, not work? If you're into co-production, this is a must-watch video for you. So, grab yourself a coffee, pull up a pew and let's get going.
No matter what, yeah, alright, hey, everybody.
So good morning all you expert linkers, you being the differences, you making the differences, you amazing people doing co-production, all of you out there. This is a much-watched video about co-production. But before we do, I just want to mention one thing about the recovery wheel because I think that's really important. You see, the biggest gift that I feel that the recovery wheel can give to the system and to society as a whole is the gift of honesty. Yes, honesty, being honest. If you want long-term sustainable recovery, if you want to be clean and all the rest of it and grow into an amazing human being, what you need to do is be really honest about yourself. I mean, genuinely honest. You need to understand who you are, what you are, the different parts, how you got there, how it all interacts so that you can manage your recovery to grow and develop into amazing human beings, which is what people in recovery do. They grow into amazing human beings. Last week I was doing some training and one of the volunteers, Noel, videoed me talking a little bit about this and relating it to religion and science and how we have an amazing system with lots of parts, but it's understanding the different parts and how or why possibly they don't work together and relating that to religion and science and stuff like that. It's a great little clip I'm going to show you in a second. But before we do, one thing. I don't own the monopoly on the truth. It's just my truth. It might not be your truth, but it's my truth. Okay? So you can either agree with me or disagree with me. At the end of the video, I'd love to see your comments. I'd love to see where you are on that, what you think, and if there are any learnings and how you might relate this to the way that you're engaging with people, whichever part of the system that you're from. So let's get straight to it. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about co-production here, but we're not going to get into debate. But enough to, what I will say though is that, so a while back, a couple of years ago, I sat in a room with some of the best thinkers in the country when it came to stuff like co-production. I mean, really intelligent people. And it was facilitated actually by that big organisation that we love, the NHS, and their best thinkers too. And there was about 15 people in it. It was about this sort of size, maybe a couple more people. But what struck me at the end of the day, and I was the only one in there with lived experience, what struck me at the end of the day is they couldn't agree what co-production was. That's what really struck me. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the barriers to co-production. Or David's view of some of the barriers to co-production. And to do that, we're going to leave our world of multiple disadvantage for a bit. So I guess the first thing might be, do we all understand and know how they measure IQ? That's our first thing. So just in case nobody does, right, the way that they measure IQ, it's about somebody's ability to take in data. That's the first part. And the second part is their ability to process that data. Yeah? So it's about what they can take in and how fast that they can process it. So if you look at scientists, you know, they are really, really clever, aren't they? They can take in loads and loads of stuff and they can process it really, really quickly. When I first started coming into this office, there is lots of high IQs in there. They are so good at taking lots and lots of data and really quick at processing it. So that's how they measure IQ. And how accurate is that? If you take 100 people and 500 questions, and you take the first 100 questions and you give it to those 100 people, and you get them to answer the questions, and you mark them, then you take the next 200 questions, and you give it to them, and then you mark them again. The variant, or the difference in the score, 0.05%. That's how accurate the measuring of IQ is, massively accurate. So that's the first thing, okay? So let's park that one. And now let's talk about something different. Let's talk about, well, not necessarily that different. Let's talk about science and religion. Challenging one. Okay, so first of all, let's look at science. If you think about scientists for the moment, I just mentioned, and this is a huge generalisation, by the way. Generally speaking, they have really, really high IQs. You know, all the professors of the world, scientists, and the people right up there who go to the best schools, universities and colleges, they have really high IQs. They're really, really good at collecting data. They're really, really good at processing. But here's the thing. Unless it's got form, because they're a scientist, because they're into data, it does not exist. Absolutely. It's about the data and the form. That's what they're interested in. High IQs. So if we go to the other side of the spectrum, maybe another side of the spectrum might be religion. So let's go into religion, and we'll use Christianity because that's an easy one to do. But if you go right over into the extremes of religion and speak to people over there, they don't care about the data and form. For them, it's all about their connection to God. It's that EQ, maybe that spiritual thing going on. Absolutely. So what happens if you take someone over at the extreme at this end and at this extreme at this end, bring them together and say, discuss how did the world come about? Well, this lot will be going, well, we have the data to say it's been 1 billion years and we've got little things and fossils and shit like that and volcanoes. And over here they're going, well, 5,600 years ago, it says in the good book. Not knocking the good book, by the way. But but they will never agree. So how does that work in our system? Think about our system for a little bit. Our system is driven and controlled by the smaller percentage of people in the system, and they're all over here. Really, really intelligent, fantastic people, really, really intelligent, amazing IQs, really good at collecting data, really, really good at processing stuff, but they're not interested in the emotional stuff because they need that's the system, yeah? Over here, which is the biggest part of the system, we don't give a toss about that. Absolutely not. It's about our emotional stuff, isn't it? And our connectivity. You go into a recovery ward, it's all about your higher power and all that sort of stuff, you know? And that connectivity and that spiritual stuff. And they don't care about the data. So you have the biggest part of the system is all emotional. You get the smallest part of the system, which has the power. Over here, it's all about the data. Our challenge at ExpertLink is to bring those together and make the conversation happen. That's what this is about. So we get everybody talking. For me, that's where co-production is. We can add another layer onto that, absolutely, that makes it even more challenging. Is for years and years and years I've been going, actually, over here, us guys with all the lived experience, we're thinking about today and tomorrow. We're not thinking about next week, next month, next year, 5 years' time. Because most of us have come from a place that's not good, and most of us have had experience where we've, as an addict, 17 years, I wasn't thinking about tomorrow or next week. I was thinking in 20 minutes time, if I don't get a fucking hit, I'm in pieces. 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, short term. I was saying it for absolutely years. And earlier on this year, there was some research that was published that absolutely backed me up 100%. And what the research said is that for those who came from unstable backgrounds, suffered from adverse childhood experiences, that isn't just abuse, it could be anything. It could be your dad being drunk and coming home, or your mum and dad arguing, all that sort of stuff. It could be that your parents aren't in proper employment, and so every 6 months they're out of job and in work and all that sort of stuff, or you're moving home every 5 minutes. Or as a child, when you're growing up, all those core beliefs are set, and the things and all the mechanisms that make you work, that's where they're set, and you grow like that. You do not long-term plan because you're thinking of the short term. What happens over here is lots of the guys who are really intelligent, who come from a really, really clean place, but naturally they've had come from stable backgrounds, they can naturally plan ahead long term. So you have these really intelligent people, not saying that they're coming from a really, really clean place, but they're over here, they've come from stable backgrounds, they can plan ahead, they're interested in the data. We've got short-term planners over here who don't give a shit about the data, but really, it's about us emotional. Add that on as a layer, and now how complicated this all becomes and how challenging it becomes to get people to work together. So that's where we are with that. That's my view, and from my experience and what I've picked up, and that puts us in a really challenging place. How do we bring these people over here and these people over here so that they can have an intelligent conversation and start doing co-production? Because quite often you've got the people over here going, "Ah!" and over here you've got the people going, "No, but we have the facts, we've got the data." And we need to get them together in the middle so that we can do some stuff and work together to make the world a better place. That's my view. Okay, well there you go guys. That's it. I would love to hear your comments. I would love to read your comments. Maybe I can hear them, I don't know. But I'd love to read your comments. I'd love to see what you think about the video. Perhaps you've got some stories where that sort of happened and where people have not communicated because of not understanding. And actually how important it is that we understand the different parts, understand one another, because we're all coming for the same place, a place of wanting to achieve change, get systems change and co-production going. So if you're on our Facebook page, give us a thumbs up, like it, follow us, do whatever, ring that bell type thingy, and if on YouTube, do that as well. Comments, like it, hit the subscribe button, smash the dingy-ringy belly thing so you get, okay, don't smash it, just ding ding, but do that. And maybe if you want to do the crossover bit, and wherever you are watching this, get onto one of the platforms, because the more people that like this, the more people that share this, the more people will be talking about co-production, and the more chances we've got of actually achieving really good positive change, making the world a better place. How can that not be good? Guys, I'm going to carry on my coffee, so until next time, see you then.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. No matter what.